Okay, we'll go ahead and get started here. I am Justin Daughtry with CPU, and we're doing our third segment of CPU EDU, which is a monthly webinar series that we conduct and record, giving education about specific topics, services, and things like that that are tied to our IT managed experience. It happens the last Thursday of every month. We appreciate all of the partnerships and relationships that everyone has with us. Today's topic is about Nextiva. Nextiva is a voice over IP cloud phone solution that allows you to communicate and collaborate better. It is a telecommunication service that we've been offering for 3 or 4 years now, and it's come in handy for us as users of it ourselves, as well for our clients. The topics we'll cover today are just a few topics that Nextiva could cover, and there'll be some additional time at the end for any questions if there's any specifics that we can answer. Some of those topics will be call flows, mobile application that you have available, voicemails and announcements, recording and analytics, and then, like I mentioned, the questions and answer session we'll have at the end there. The first is call flows. So a call flow really just determines what happens when a caller calls your advertised number. Call flows are an important part of Nextiva, and it just dictates the experience that the caller will have. Call flows can be set up in a lot of different ways. The most common ways is it can have an auto attendant. An auto attendant is really it's an automated greeting that plays when your advertised number is called, and it delivers information to the caller and then allows them to choose which direction they want to go, or it can automatically get them in the right location after the information is delivered. It can come in handy if you have different departments or you just want to get a message to the caller before your staff have to answer the calls. The second option is call groups. Call groups can be a group of users, Nextiva users, that are in one group or team, and all phones ring together, or they can ring in a particular order, and that could be weighted off many different things. You can have multiple groups that can be set in case one department is too busy. After a certain amount of time, it can go to a different call group, and then those calls will ring, and the people that weren't able to answer it, it goes away from them to the second group, and then the caller can be answered there. And it can continue going, but we all know that you don't want callers listening to rings for too long, so it's good to be strategic there. But those call groups can be set up with different individuals, and multiple call groups can be set. You can also set the call flow up just to go to one individual user. So you can make it when the call comes in, a specific user and phone rings, and it can ring for a specific amount of time. And then it can go to voicemail or another type of call flow. It could go to another individual, it could go to a group, or it even could go to an auto attendant if that independent user did not answer on the first call flow or the first ring. Call flows are important to understand because all businesses are different and may require something different. It could be something simple or it could be more complex. Whatever it is, we just want to get clients to where they need to go faster and more efficiently. So the caller has a better experience, as well as your staff have a better experience and understanding of the caller and how to help them and where to get them to get the best information. On top of making things better for the caller, it can help those employees and departments by not necessarily being bothered by calls that aren't important for the role that they have in the company. So you can keep people focused and working in an area if they don't need to be bothered by calls that should be for a different group or different department or different person. And you could just make the call experience better for the caller and for your staff. The second thing that I want to mention is the mobile app, and this is a pretty big feature that Nextiva offers as opposed to traditional analog systems. The mobile app is Nextiva's official app. It's supported by Android and iOS devices. What it does is it just really allows you to stay connected to your employees and clients even when you're not at your desk, so you don't have to be tied to your desk phone. When you have the mobile app logged in on your mobile phone, your staff can dial your extension and your desk phone will ring, but also the mobile app will ring. So if you're not at your desk, you can still be reached on that app. If a client calls for you and you're not at your desk, instead of giving out a cell phone number or waiting for a call back from you, you can still be reached without having to do that. So, if someone calls you're not available, or it's an important call and you're not at the desk and you need to call them, or they need to reach you, then you may have to give out your cell phone number. But with the app, you do not have to do that. It's included in all packages. Every user that you have on your Nextiva account has the ability to sign in with the mobile app. It just requires a username, which will be the full email address that we tie to that user, and a password that you can generate on your own. If you forget that password or it needs to be changed, it can be done very easily. It can be reset by us, and then you can set it again to whatever you prefer, so you can have your own individual passwords. The other major problem the mobile app solves, and I get this question a lot, is with the cloud or network-based phone system. If your business is without power or internet, as long as you have that mobile app on your cell phone with a service or connection on your cell phone, you can still receive calls. So, if your building loses power and your phone systems are down, your desk phones may not ring, but you can still communicate with your clients on the mobile app. If your internet goes down at your location, then you could still use the mobile app to receive calls and make calls, just the same as if you had your desk phones. And the app actually lets you accomplish all the same tasks from the mobile app as your desk phone. You can transfer calls, you can check your voicemails, you can have all the access at your fingertips, just as if you were sitting at your desk phone. So it's a really good feature that Nextiva has. It adds some value and solves problems with having cloud or internet phone solutions. The next section is voicemails and announcements. Voicemails allow you to listen and manage your voicemail messages. Pretty simple. And you can also record announcements, which are similar to your voicemail greetings, but they are different. And we'll discuss that here in a moment. Voicemails, the PIN number for voicemails with Nextiva by default is 4 zeros. So that would be 0000. When you do sign in for the first time, you are required to change it so you can make it to your own personalized 4-digit PIN. You can obviously check voicemails from your desk phone. You can also check them from the mobile app, as I mentioned, or you can check your voicemails from a different phone. So if you are at a different desk phone with Nextiva, or if you're don't even have the Nextiva service accessible, you can call in from your cell phone or any other phone. And when you call in and your voicemail message starts playing, you can press star as opposed to leaving a voicemail. And then that will allow you to put your PIN in and check your specific voicemail messages. Even if you don't have your desk phone or the mobile app, you can still use external phones to check those. You can set or record multiple types of voicemail messages. So the choices are busy. So you can have a message that displays if you are currently on a phone call and do not have call waiting set up, and that would make you busy. And you could have a message that is specific for that type. The most common is no answer. So if you're on the phone or you're just away from your desk and your extension is dialed and you do not answer the call, you can have a specific voicemail message for that. And then the third one is unreachable. Unreachable means that the service isn't active. So if you were not having the mobile app, your location was without power, or you did not have internet for the phones to operate, you would have an unreachable message. And these three messages, busy, no answer, and unreachable, can all be the same if you set them that way. Or you can have different messages if you just want different scenarios to give different information to your caller. In the voicemail menu, the option numbers are different depending on the phone model you have, but it is explanatory when you're in your voicemail portal and you're listening. So if you dial into your voicemail, you put in your PIN, you would press 1 to go into your voicemail section. And then you could press, for instance, 2 to record a busy greeting, 3 to record a no answer, 4 to record an unreachable greeting. And those are all audibly recognized when you're in the voicemail portal. Another good feature about the voicemails is that you can have the option to have your voicemail sent to you in an email in the form of an audio file. So if we tie your email address to your voicemail portal and tell it to send emails, anytime your desk phone or mobile app or your user receives a voicemail, it will come to you in an email. You can open that email and then you can listen to the WAV file on your computer. You can listen to the audio file on your phone or anything like that. There is also a text to speech function. So not only can the voicemail come to your email, it can also use text to speech recognition to type out the text of that. We've seen both of them in action. Obviously, the voicemail to email with the audio file is very straightforward and does not have any faults. Text to speech has come a long way, and 95 to 99% of the text does get transcribed correctly. But it can, misread or mistype a word if it's a difficult word or wasn't enunciated correctly. Different from voicemails is announcements. They're very similar, but they are different, and they are recorded in the same menu. They're used for things like auto attended greetings, if you're going to be setting meeting greetings when you're away, if you have call recording set up and you want to record an announcement to let the caller know that the call is being recorded. Announcements can also be verbal messages that you put on your on hold music or on hold section. So when you place a call on hold, you could have information that you record. You could have sales pitches that you record, services that you offer, things like that. And then call menus that are related to the auto attendant is what announcements can also be used for. So you can record voicemails and announcements, and often those things do get kind of intermingled. So I thought it was important to talk about voicemails, what they are, announcements, what they are, and what separates them and makes them different. Two other features that Nextiva offers is that it can record your calls, and it can also provide you analytics on your call logs. If you have the need for one of these services or both of them, they are included with the feature package that we have for all of our clients. We'll specifically talk about call recording first. So call recording can be done in two ways. You could set up call recording to record always, in which all calls record incoming and outgoing. Call recorded announcement plays, or you can make it not play depending on what state you're in and what laws you're in. You can have it where both parties have to be aware that the call is being recorded. Only one party be aware that the call is being recorded. And in some rare scenarios, recording can happen without either party, but that's very rare. I do know that North Carolina is a one-party consent state. So as long as one of the two parties talking to each other knows that the call is being recorded, it is legal. The second way that you can turn on call recording is actually on demand. What that means is the calls don't automatically record. If you are talking to someone and you want the call to begin recording, you can press a feature access code on your phone and it will start the recording. So for information purposes, if you do have on-demand call recording set up, you could just press *44 and that will start the call recording. Do that and you've gathered all the information you need. You could press *45 to stop the recording. If you just want to pause it momentarily and not terminate the audio file and have multiple audio files, you can pause and resume. *48 is how you pause a call to being recorded. *49 is how you would resume the call recording. And the difference between starting and stopping and pausing and resuming, if you start and stop a call recording, it makes its own singular file. Whereas if you start and stop and then start again and stop again, it will have two different audio files. So if you wanted it to be easier to know that it was all one conversation, you would start, pause, resume when you were ready, and stop it there. And I know that's a lot of information on that specifically, and it can be a little bit confusing, but when you actually take the action and steps, it's a little bit better to follow. So if you have questions about that, we can definitely help out with that. But those are the star feature access codes to the on-demand call recording. Call recordings are stored on Nextiva's cloud server, and a call audio file is saved for 6 months before it is replaced by newer calls? So that is a question I get often. Well, what happens if I don't know? I need to go back and reference it for a certain amount of time. They obviously can't store all of them forever, but they do store them for up to 6 months, which is quite a long time. The call recordings can be accessed via a web browser. So you can open up a browser on your computer. You would go to a URL, which is recorder13.nextiva.com. And you would sign in there with a username and password that you have set up. If you do not have it set up, you won't have that username yet, obviously, and you won't have a combo to be used. But once we set up a username password combo and we enable call recording, you can share that one username between the administrators or anyone who needs access to the call recordings, or we can create multiple usernames so that if logs get someone deleting or accessing some of those audio files, you will know who may have done that. Call recording happens a lot. I know we all find ourselves on calls sometimes where it says calls being recorded for one reason or another. So it is becoming more popular, and it is a good tool to have if you're dealing with the public and need to go back and reference things for one reason or another. The second feature here that's similar but not the same is call analytics. That's another feature that's included in Nextiva. You can view placed calls, received calls, and missed calls. These can be viewed by location if you have multiple locations, by specific users, or by call groups if you have those set up, or you can just look at all of it across the board. These reports are accessible by your analytics portal, which you can be given access to if you do not have already. But the same email address that's tied to your user and the password that you would use for the mobile app that we discussed earlier is what you would go to nextiva.com and sign in with. And that's your user. And if you have permission to access the analytics portal, you'll see it right there on the screen as soon as you log in. And you can access all the viewable screens as well as the reports. On top of being able to log in and live view the reports, reports can also be generated automatically and sent to you via email at your request or on some type of schedule. They're really customizable. You can make them however you want, create the report, and then you create the schedule for those reports to be generated. You can use these reports for determining who gets the most call volume. Is someone overloaded? Do we need to add somebody else to the responsibility of answering calls? Is someone missing too many calls? Do we get more calls in the morning, lunchtime, or afternoon? Is one day busier than the other? Or we close on a specific day when calls are coming in? There are a lot of different reasons that you might want access to analytics. And if you don't have it set up, it can be set up for you. And we can help you view those. And all of these things are included in all of the packages that we offer. I try to do my best at onboarding to make sure that everyone gets all that information. And, if there's something that comes up later and you want something additional to be added or more information given to you, we could certainly do that. Some of the other common topics that we get and feel like are important to discuss are things like transferring calls, call parking, which is what all new cloud or voice over IP phone systems have versus hold. They are similar. They are not the same. Holiday hours. So if you're going to be closed for a specific event, or if you have a holiday schedule and you're going to be closed, they need to be set so your phones go into night mode or off mode properly. There's a desktop application that is just an extension of your desk phone that allows you to have a microphone and headset and take calls from the computer. Call forwarding is a topic that we get asked about a lot of the times, and conferencing calls so you can have multiple parties. Those are just some common topics. Transferring calls, there's warm transfer and blind transfer. Warm transfer just means that you let the person in your organization know who is on the phone before you send it to them. Blind transfer just sends them the call without giving them a warning of who's on the phone. Call parking parks calls on a specific extension for other people to grab. Hold with Nextiva only holds it to your local phone. Holiday hours we touched on, they can be set so that your call flow can determine if you're closed. They can play the regular greeting for closed, even if it's during business hours typically, but holidays it would know to automatically go to closed. Desktop application I mentioned, a lot of people don't use that because having a microphone at your workstation is not very common. Call forwarding, so you can set it up if you want to forward calls to a outside cell phone number or to someone else temporarily because you're going to be away from your desk for a lunch or for hours. You could do that. And conference calls. So on your phones, you'll have one or two lines, potentially more if you requested them. There is a button under your screen that says conference. You press that, you get the second caller on the line, and then that same button under your screen would have join, and it would join you and both callers that you have. So conferencing is possible. You can have as many conferenced in as you have lines on your phone, but two is typically what we put on people's phone because we found if you often go past two, three, four people trying to juggle a call, you end up likely dropping someone or having a mistake happen. So in closing, Nextiva is a very intuitive program and it's very flexible. I always say that it can be set up as advanced or as simplified as you need it. When we set it up day one, it can be simple, and then we can discuss additional features that are beneficial for your business, and we can add those slowly over time. Or we can, do our due diligence ahead of time and just add all these features and make it advanced from the beginning. But I often find it's best to put it as closely to what the business is used to using, and then we build on it from there. There are many aspects to Nextiva. There are always resources available here at CPU and even through Nextiva directly if you wish to learn more. Their website has lots of how-to videos and things that are going to line up with what we've discussed today and even things that we did not discuss today. This is likely one part of the Nextiva CPU EDU that we will complete. There will likely be a second part a couple months down the road once we touch on some other topics because Nextiva does have so much to offer. And it is an investment. It often can save money for people. Over half the time switching to Nextiva will save money. If you're interested in switching and don't already have the service, you can let us know and we can help you evaluate your bills and see if it's the right investment for you. If you do have Nextiva, we appreciate that commitment. And I myself, as kind of the champion of Nextiva knowledge here, I pride myself on answering questions, providing the solutions that you need, and making sure everybody loves the system. And if they don't, let me know and we'll work towards that. But I appreciate everyone's advice and questions. And if you need anything, as always, you can reach out to us here at CPU, and we definitely appreciate your time, as I know time is valuable. And once again, thanks for joining.